Welcome to the Orchard Hard Drive. Dear Diary, it's the next day. The weather lately has gotten warmer. I guess this must be Nullgorth summer. And what a place to experience it. I'm sitting in a park in the city of Capital Towers. Huge, winding, tall buildings and equally winding streets. The combination of ancient and modern, technology and magic. It's a bustling metropolis with all kinds of businesses, with cloaked wizards and dragons flying overhead. Meanwhile, you'll see a train going past. Lots of business people walking around, but sometimes there'll be goblins, pixies, humans, orcs, and a variety of creatures. I've no idea what they're called. But anyway, I woke up today and met Twayblade. We had our breakfast and chatted a bit, but couldn't hang around too long as we were to meet Gwenith soon. She'd come back from a quest to find this gauntlet. We met her at the train station. She wasn't armoured this time, just regular clothes. Well, regular for Nullgorth. Said we should go to Twayblade's hotel room to talk. When we got there, she took out a bag and put it on the table. She told me to close the curtains. Then Gwenith removed a metal gauntlet. The fingers were pointed. She slid it on her hand and made a fist. It was beautiful looking, amazingly crafted glove. Then she opened her hand and a purple flame appeared. It grew and a white ball appeared in it. This ball started to form into an eyeball. It looked around, not settling on anything in particular. This, Gwenith said, was the enchantment. This was my way of getting home. The eye had the ability to guide the wearer to what they want. Its origins were rumoured to be some lost civilization, and where she found it was very strange indeed. She said how it connects to the wearer, and the eye will point in the direction they have to go. It actually helped her get out of where she found it. Of course, Gwenith wanted this for her bounty hunting, but while travelling, she kept thinking about what it must be like for me to be so far from home, to be on another world. She told me how she'd been looking into gateways. I remember Twayblade saying when I met him first that if I'd come through a gateway, I could get home easier. Twayblade said how they were usually linked to specific worlds. Gweneth told us how she'd put on the gauntlet and thought about a gateway to get me home. It pointed southeast. She said how when she asked around, one of the gateways was there, in a place known as the Dark Wood. Twayblade stood up and said how it was irresponsible to even think about going there. Gweneth pointed out that was where they had met. Twayblade, clearly annoyed by this, said how that was in the outskirts of the wood, but the part she was talking about must be in some lost city, and they didn't know much about that. Gweneth said how if they went with someone who understood ancient cities, maybe they'd have a chance. I said, what about my friend Clonk? He loved ancient buildings, and I was sure he could help. Twayblade didn't say anything, but Gweneth looked at me with excitement. She said it'd be perfect. We would have to try at least. Twayblade shook his head, saying it was far too dangerous. Gweneth scowled and said how she could take me and Clonk there, that if she was being honest, she didn't need Twayblade. Twayblade stood up and warned us not to go into the dark wood, that I would not like what I found there. It's not for someone like me. Gweneth said how it was somewhere for her. She had started to say she knew what the dark wood is capable of. Twayblade cut her off, insisting she did not. She had no idea of the depths of the horrors that place was capable of. I said it would be useful then to have a powerful wizard with us. Twayblade bristled at this. He grunted, then said how he had to think about it. Then turned and left the hotel room. Gweneth looked at me and asked what was going on with Twayblade. I genuinely didn't know. I said how he'd been secretive about why he was here. Gweneth sat back in her chair and said how she was sure he had a good reason. She left to get food, and that's brought you up to date. I went for a walk, just saw an orc get on a bus. There's a half woman, half unicorn across the street taking a phone call, and 3 gnomes were walking around the park here. Thankfully, so far I've missed the gnome I stepped on. I mean, I haven't seen him. Not that I've been careful where I'm stepping. I mean, I have been careful where I'm stepping. You know what I mean. Talk later. Dear diary, it's the same day. On my way back to the hotel, I saw more armoured figures. I didn't talk to any, but I figured I'd ask Gwenith about it. She figured it must be the tournament, this fighting league that happens in summer. Lots of people take part. I asked if she ever took part. She said no, it wasn't her scene at all. Twayblade met up with us again. He said he'd thought about it, and thought maybe we could do it. There might be a safe way to reach the gateway, but of course, getting to the dark woods is another matter. There's no trains or roads that lead there. We'd have to set off for Deadnettle again, which is the closest big city there, and of course the home of Clonk, and I'd get to see Arrowgrass again. But he wanted to go to Bilberry first. He wanted to talk to some cave dwellers. Their expertise is part of his plan, and so that was our plan. We were headed for the dark wood. Dear diary, later again. I'm on the back of Swift, Twayblade's dragon. We barely got out of there. That group of armoured creatures that hassled me outside of the newsagents saw us. Gwenith had captured their leader a few months back. They chased us down the streets. Gwenith's armour was in a locker at the station, as well as her weapons. Twayblade guided us down the cobblestone alleys, and then we had to split up. Gwenith would go down to the train station, while we would head back to the hotel and fly away on the back of Twayblade's dragon. When we got towards the hotel, we could see more armoured figures. We couldn't be sure if they were from the gang or others here for the tournament. We went in a side door and quickly packed our things, checked out, and soon we were soaring high above the city, away into the countryside of Nullgorth. And that's where I am as I write. Twayblade says we'll meet Gwenith at Bilberry.